But going forward is if once you got your books in line, you have a source of revenue, now banks can actually look at you and are willing to loan money. And that's how we were able to look at doing the Harbour Club. It's been talked about for 15 years, but every time we got close to doing it and then realized that we had to pay for it, we didn't have the funds to do it. We see candidates year after year that say they're going to run for the board and I'm not going to raise your dues. Well, that's a great platform to run on, but it's not realistic. If each of those people had the courage each year from 2016 just to raise the dues $75, we would have had all the money that was necessary to have the infrastructure and have the funds to do the Harbour Club. John and I did the hard things and said, okay, in order to accomplish all this, we need to get to our dues to a rate that allow us to do the projects that we wanted to do that. Is there going to be raises in the future? Probably due to inflation, but currently now with the plan that we've had, the 3 and 5 year plan, no, because we are finally to the point where we needed to be. And all it took was raising the dues $6 a month for the last couple of years. We would have got to this exact same point where we are now. So building the Harbour Club is very important to us because I think it makes us relevant. The other thing is to get that source of revenue coming in, fiber. It's coming here this year, this summer. We will actually see our community be safe. It was twofold. One was to bring in a source of revenue, but it also allowed us to protect our community. We will now have RFID technology and we will have license plate readers. We will know who's coming and going from our community. The other thing is we need to reflect a community that's on the coast. That means we need to raise our reserves and our umbrella policies. We now have that in place. And the last thing was to complete our infrastructure. And our infrastructure meant the 385. What was happening before, we kept siphoning dollars from roads and streets, the maintenance of our community. But then we bought this large project in mass and we didn't have the dollars to fix that infrastructure, which is 50 years old now? And it's all falling apart around us. And we needed to put a plan in place. And yes, did we raise the dues to do that? Yes, we raised them $122 to be able to fix seawalls, to fix marinas, to fit the cart paths that are necessary. I think it's also our fiduciary responsibility to do that as well. And the last thing is looking at other sources of revenue. The land that we bought up on Highway 55. It's probably something that we should have done 50 years ago to advertise for our businesses in our community. But we need a long-term lease on there. It's the possibility if we get an ad hoc committee, another example of what a committee can actually do is that we can go out and look for a business that wants to make that their next location. Could it be a Dunkin' Donuts? Could it be a Baskin Robbins? Who knows what the possibility is? But I can tell you, as 70 expands, much like Annapolis expanded in my first conversation, this too will expand. It's 4 corners on a highway. Growth is coming, and we need to be prepared for it. And that's part of why we're also doing the security portion. That's why we're also controlling our fiber as one of our next utility. And that's why we're looking at also doing retail where the POA offices are and the activities outside our gates. So we're still secure because as traffic grows, you're going to kind of want some of those necessities in your backyard. Just think of it. You might have a dog groomer there. You could possibly have an OT/PT part-time satellite. There could be an accountant there. There could be a builder showroom. I mean, there's lots of possibilities. We actually have on the table right now a proposal for a coffee shop. So those are what I see coming for the harbor and what has the potential. And it's not about just looking about today. You have to look about tomorrow and 3 years, 5 years. And that's all about strategic planning and being prepared for the future.